Hey guys, welcome back to Girls Frontline 2. In today's video, they've announced some pretty massive news, especially for those degenerate rerollers like me, but also for everyone, because we've got an amazing first banner in the game. They've gone hard early on. We get Suomi in the game straight away as our first banner. So me personally, I will definitely be rerolling for her. I'll do a reroll guide and stuff like that before the game releases, but she is an amazing target. She is honestly just completely cracked, and that's pretty much all there is to her. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at her skills and talk about why that is, but once again, this is a massive thing for global release, giving us a really good banner with a character that's going to last well into the future based on what we know from the CN version as just like a top tier support. When we go through her skills, because they've given us a TLDR of her skills, but there's some more. I'll give you guys some more additional information about her skills because they put condensed versions on. And these condensed versions of the skills don't actually tell you everything that she does, because you need like a PhD to just understand her skills in the pure fact of how much these things do. It is ridiculous. She's an absolutely cracked character. So let's jump in and take a look at the skills. So her basic attack, don't worry, it's just the basic attack. Winter's Wrath deals freeze damage. This skill deals fixed damage with reduced critical rate for each allied unit within 6 tiles, increased stability damage dealt. So it's got high stability damage. The thing that this doesn't tell you is that it is only on a 1-turn cooldown, which is really nice. You have two versions of skills. You have skills that have a timed cooldown and skills that have an ammunition, which they call some really elaborate name, which we'll look at in a sec, which I absolutely hate. I just call it ammo, call it skill points, whatever you want. Basically, so hers doesn't have a cost of skill points or ammunition. It only costs a 1-turn cooldown, which is really, really nice. So you get a 4 base stability damage, which is pretty decent in itself. And then you just get 1 extra for each allied unit within 6 tiles. So that's really solid. So you got 3. You're doing a 7 stability, which is actually really, really reasonable with this. Once again, being on a 1-turn cooldown. The next ability is Snow's Grace. Applies Frost Barrier to select allied target excluding self. Restores Stability Index, which is basically like your shield, your stability. If you watch my other video, you'll know what it is, but you'll pick up on stability really quick when you get in the game. It just helps you mitigate damage, essentially. Applies Defensive Support, which is a defensive buff, essentially, based on the number of enemies within 5 tiles. Now, I believe this is around a 30% buff that stacks up to 4 times. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it is a really reasonable buff. So it's only a single target, but it is so big because the thing it doesn't tell you about this, the shield also has a heal effect tied into it. If an enemy breaks the shield, they get frigid, which basically fixes them in place and they can't move for 1 turn, which is obviously a really handy effect as well for positioning and locking enemies in place. So it's really solid. So like I said, there is a lot to that one, and the Frost Barrier has more to do with her passive when we go and take a look at her passive in a little bit. Then the next one is Snowfield's Radiance. Deals fixed damage to all enemy targets within 3 tiles around a select empty tile, so it's AoE damage, and applies 2 stacks of Avalanche. Now, Avalanche is a stacking debuff, I believe, at 5 stacks, I think it is. Don't quote me on that. It deals additional fixed stability damage. So she's great at basically just shredding through stability with her first skill and this skill, both tied together. So really, really solid. But just know it's a stacking debuff that once it reaches X amount of stacks, it does extra stability damage. I can't remember exact numbers. Restores stability index to allied units. So gets them their stability up because you do want to keep your stability up. Cleanses debuffs and taunts. Additionally applies Frost Barrier and Ice Fortress. So you're also getting that Frost Barrier as well. Like it just does so much in this ability, which is absolutely ridiculous. So and then it also applies the Frost Zone. So the TLDR of what this does is AoE defense scaling, applies the Avalanche, that stacking debuff, AoE heal and cleanse. It has defense up and damage reduction up. So it has those 2 effects applied into it. That's in some of these Ice Fortress. HP regen and shelter if they're at full HP. So if you're at full HP, you get additional HP regen and shelter. This is all based on beta stuff, so if this changes, it shouldn't, but it's also the same on CN. And then also applies the frost tiles. So you've got damage, debuffing, cleansing, healing, and mitigation. And frost tiles. It's a ridiculous ability. That should be 2 different abilities. One should be the buffing ability, one should be the damage. But no, they've popped everything into one. It is cracked. Then we get here onto her passive. Now, at the end of action, gains this word here, confectance index, is the ammo or the skill points. I just hate calling it confectance index. What a horrible name for a core system in a game. Restores HP to other allies within 6 tiles. If the target's HP is below 50%, increases the amount restored. When allied units, excluding self, use basic attacks or skills, she'll support allies. So she'll apply... sorry, this isn't the supporting attack bit, but she'll apply the avalanche to a random enemy within the 6 tiles of herself. When an enemy unit within range takes targeted damage from an allied unit, she'll do a support action once, which means she'll do an extra attack on it. She applies crit damage up to the allied unit, and if her HP above 80%, she gains the steadfast, which is stability up. So basically, TLDR on that one once again. At the end of action, she gets 2 ammo and heals all allies. If an allied has the frost barrier, this is an additional thing that it has, they get frost damage up and a stack and avalanche when they attack if they're within range of Suomi. So it's a bit of a weird one. Gets the support attack, gets the crit damage up, and gets the stability up. Her kit, everything in her kit, and once again, this one is just a passive. This is just a passive. This active attack, I believe it has like a 5 ammo cost, which is quite steep. But when we look at some of her keys, it doesn't matter. Because if we look at this key, we gain, which is kind of like skills that you apply to them. We gain 3 points of ammo at the start of battle, which is huge. And then this one, at the end of her action, if her stability index is greater than 0, she recovers 10% of max HP and 1 stability index. So you can rotate between them pretty comfortably. If you have other effects, you can also just use that twice in a row. Like, it's pretty cracked. And then on top of that, if that all wasn't enough, because she can't apply her shield to herself, when we've got her common key, when HP drops below 80%, restores 15% of the user's maximum HP, applies defense up 3 for 2 turns, and can trigger only once per battle. So this gives her a really solid self-sustainability on top of that, considering she can't put the barrier on herself. However, then we've also got this one. When inflicted with stun, taunt, or paralysis, immediately cleanses the effects of stun, taunt, paralysis for 1 turn. Simultaneously gains frost barrier for 3 turns. So we not only... so her keys basically solve her one weakness, which her one weakness is that she can't apply the shield to herself, so she becomes a target. But then she has really good damage mitigation over here with this one and survivability. This is a bit more nuanced because you do have to get controlled, but she does have some pretty decent survivability in there as well. So honestly, she's just an all-round cracked character, and she is going to be our first character in the game. I just wanted to give you guys a rundown, but honestly, I would 100% be putting my my premium currency and my rate up tickets into her at the start of the game. I'm personally going to reroll for her, but if I was you guys, I would definitely be putting my resources into her to go ahead and try and nab her, because she's absolutely cracked. And that's pretty much the gist of it. But anyway, guys, that is all I wanted to let you know about. They have announced her as the first banner. We were hoping for this, but we are now officially getting it, which is going to be fantastic. So that is going to be it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.